Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having a fantastic week. Today's video is all about some of the most controversial topics in parrot care at the moment. And I wanted to do this video because there could be topics that you're unaware of, some that you've got strong opinions on, and I'd really like to share as much knowledge as possible. Pickles me, I know! So what I'm going to do is go through some of the topics. I actually put a post up on my community tab about this, asking for your guys' opinions. I'm going to talk about some of these topics. Some of these topics are going to be made into full-length videos, and there may be some external videos that I'm going to link as well because I think they're really useful. But I wanted to kind of collect all of these topics here in one place that we can all discuss together. And I would love to hear your opinions on the topics, so please get involved down in the comments. The only thing that I ask is that you're respectful to everybody else, because we all have different opinions, we come from different backgrounds, cultures, places in the world, and we all have different experiences and knowledge. So please just be respectful to everybody in the comments, and then we can all hopefully learn a little bit more about how to give our little feathered babies the most amazing life possible. Now, the first topic I'm going to talk about today is arguably the most controversial, which is wing clipping. And I do have strong opinions on this, but for the purpose of this topic, I really would direct you to the amazing video made by my friends Paws, Claws and Feathers. I'm going to leave a link down in the description card at the top. Please go and check it out. Whether you're pro clipping, against clipping, on the fence, it's super important. I'm in the video too, so it's always a good bonus, and lots of other great creators like Ellen the Birds and Mikey the Macaw, Parrot Volunteer. There's just loads of awesome people in that video giving their opinions on wing clipping and you're gonna go on there. Wing clipping and all of the opinions surrounding it. Bird Tales is in there too, Bogey the Galasso, so many people, so it's really worth a watch. Just as a kind of quick roundup, I am against clipping unless your bird has a medical need for it. I think if you want to get a pet with wings, why on earth would you clip them? You know, why would you buy a pet that flies and then want to prevent them flying? There are lots of other reasons why I'm against it. Some people say that their birds are clumsy, so they clip them to help them fly better, but they're not going to get any better at flying if you're going to modify their wings. I just think, as I say in the video, I'm very pro-choice when it comes to birds, you know, pro allowing them to decide where they want to go, what they want to do, who they want to interact with, where in the room they want to play. And when you take away their flight or their natural ability to fly properly, then I think it really kind of creates this murky area of having birds under human care and whether, you know, the situation is right for them. Some people also say they clip for safety reasons, you know, they've got ceiling fans, or what if the window opens? Your bird can still fly. There are so many instances, especially at this time of year when it's getting a little bit warmer up where we live, where people have their windows open. They think, oh, I've clipped my bird so they can't get out the window, but they absolutely can. They can fly off and you can lose your bird. So to sum up my point, I am against clipping unless it's for medical reasons, but I would highly recommend you go and watch the Paws, Claws and Feathers video, because there are so many different opinions in there and perspectives, and it's just a really well balanced and amazingly well filmed video, and it really deserves more views, so please go and check that out after this video. The next topic evokes a lot of passion, so again, please be respectful in the comments. But the next one is keeping birds as single birds, so without companions of the feathered kind. My personal opinion is I always feel that where possible, if you can have your bird have a companion, whether they share the same cage or if they're just in the same room, I think that is far better than just having a bird as a single bird. A couple of reasons why. I mean, the first one, you could potentially give a single bird on its own the most incredible life possible if you are with them for pretty much their entire waking hours each day. Obviously you want them to have some independent play, that kind of thing. You want them to be able to entertain themselves on their own, but ultimately they're going to have to spend most of the day with you. And if you have to go out to work, if you have to go out to school, university, if you have to go out regularly several times a week, that's going to be very difficult for your bird, because they are a flock species. All parrots are social and they are going to want to be around a companion, and they can actually feel quite unsafe if they don't have a companion around, whether that is they see that as you as a human or with another flock member as well. My other thought on the topic is nothing really compares to being able to communicate with your own species. And yes, we can, you know, use the training game to be able to communicate with the birds and speak in that kind of common language, but it doesn't compare to be able to communicate fully kind of as different species. So I think there's there's some tricky issues there, and also, as I said, they really are a flock animal, and if they can have a companion who understands their body language properly and they can communicate in that way, I think that's just so important. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same species. If you can have two different species that get along, or they're just in the same room together so they have that kind of companionship all day long, that can still work. Or, as I said, if you do have a single bird and you have all the time in the world to spend with them, bar some independent play, and obviously the 12 hours of sleep they're going to need, that can still work. But I just want to throw out some of these thoughts there for people who are like, oh, I just want to get one bird. And actually, in a lot of places, especially in Europe, which I think is really interesting and actually a very important animal welfare rule, is you're not actually allowed to buy just one bird on its own. You have to buy them as a pair or more. And I think that that is really kind of advanced in animal welfare discussions and laws, and I think that's really interesting, and I think a lot of places should probably follow suit. My next topic is on pellets. Now, you may have seen on my channel, I've already made a video about how to choose the best pellets for your bird, because there are some out there that are horrendously unhealthy. They contain sugar and loads of filler ingredients as the main ingredient of the food. They contain salt, they're brightly coloured, they even taste like cereal. I have tried some of these big brands. I'd love to name them all, but I don't want to get sued. So if you'd like to know how to choose the right kind of pellets, go and check out that video. But the two that I recommend are Tops and Harrison's. There's also the debate of an all seed diet versus an all pellet diet. I'm kind of in the middle, so I mostly feed a raw diet, so vegetables, a little bit of fruit a couple of times a week, sprouted seeds, grains, legumes, a little bit of healthy seed here and there, and obviously some slightly less healthier seed for training purposes. I use pellets as like kind of a treat food for their evening meal. I think there's a lot of different schools of thought with nutrition, and I'm going to be making a whole video all about parrot nutrition and what to feed your birds. So make sure you are subscribed if you'd like to check out that video as well. The next topic is having birds around other pets in the house, such as dogs and cats. You see lots of videos online, some very cute, some very disturbing, about birds mixing with these other pets. My personal opinion is that birds should never be mixed with dogs, cats, anything else like that, because birds are a prey species, dogs and cats are predators, and whilst they may have had lots of lovely interactions all up until this point, all it takes is one accident for something really horrendous to go wrong. So I don't think it's ever worth it. They don't need to interact with dogs and cats. And if you already have loads of dogs and cats and you'd like a bird, maybe consider whether a bird would really fit into your lifestyle. Can you manage all of these animals? Because also, you shouldn't have your birds out whilst your dogs and cats are in the same room. So can you manage all of these animals, juggling their interactions, juggling the amount of time you can offer them? So that's something to consider. But I really do think that all it takes is one accident. It's just not worth it. I've had a few people request that I make a video on how to get birds and dogs and cats to get along. You can't really have them in separate rooms, have them apart, because it's just not worth the risk. So Pickles is insisting that we cuddle for this one, and we're going to be talking about free flight. Now, for some of you, free flight isn't a controversial topic. Why wouldn't you want to free fly a bird? And for some people, they can't bear the thought of free flying. So I wanted to give my thoughts on the topic. Many birds will have the potential for free flying, but it doesn't always fit in with a lot of people's situations. For example, I am visually impaired, if you didn't know already, and whilst I'd love to free fly my birds, I wouldn't be able to just on my own, because I would not be able to see them when they kind of got in the air and flew away, and that would put them into a lot of danger. We also have a lot of red kites, birds of prey, around our area, and that would pose a huge risk for our birds. Even if they were skilled flyers, it's still a huge risk, and not everyone wants to take that risk. You also have to consider, if you want to do things really safely, you could invest in GPS and telemetry, but that can cost thousands of pounds, and not everyone has that kind of money. You have to consider whether you have the appropriate kind of location near you. For example, David and I don't drive, so we wouldn't be able to get our birds and walk them to an appropriate free flight location. I also wouldn't recommend just going out and trying to free fly a bird. It takes a huge amount of hours of training. You need to contact a professional free flight trainer. I wouldn't recommend doing it on your own. There are so many different things to consider. It's not just, you know, having a bird recall. It's also learning about the wind speed, direction, that kind of thing. So I am pro free flight where it's appropriate for people's situations. If you're able to do it safely and successfully, I'm all for it. But I also appreciate, especially for me, It's not always okay for certain people's lifestyles, and actually you can still give your birds a lot of exercise indoors, or if you have an outside aviary or some kind of enclosed space where they're able to fly. We fly all of our birds indoors every day, and it gives them lots of exercise, and we're very mindful of that. So if you're mindful of that too, then that's brilliant. The next topic is covering birds at night, or sometimes if birds are noisy, some people will cover them. I am not for covering. Scampy did come to us because he's a rescue. He came to us and he was more comfortable being covered, and we are trying to wean him off of it. He just has a little bit over the top of his cage. I don't agree with covering, and there's a few reasons why. The main one being that it promotes hormonal behaviour. Whether you think it does or not, it definitely does. We see it a lot with our clients in our business. They cover their bird's cage, and as well as a lot of other factors, it really does encourage hormonal behaviour, and that's something you don't want when you have a parrot in your home. The other risk is, depending on how you have the cover set up, your bird can actually pull the cover in and ingest it, or I've seen some other horror stories which I won't mention now, but there are definitely risks when you put some sort of cloth or fabric over your bird, so I would not recommend that either. If you're concerned about having your bird have enough sleep, consider blackout blinds instead. And also some birds, for example cockatiels, really don't do well with being covered because they have night frights. So with our boys we have 2 night lights on in the room, so it really doesn't work for every bird. Depending on your setup, you could partially cover your bird, for example just have the top and maybe the side or back covered, just to give them that bit of extra darkness, but where possible I would highly recommend not covering your birds. I'll link my hormones video down below if you'd like to go and check that out. I know a lot of people cover birds, people see it as kind of common practice, but it's not something that I actually agree with myself. Another argument I hear for this is, oh well, I want to stay in the living room and watch TV, so I need to cover my bird because I need to go to sleep. If you're still in that room with your bird and you're just covering them in the hopes they're going to get sleep, they're not going to be sleeping if they can hear things in the room. If there's kind of lights flickering from the TV, they're not going to be able to sleep. So you have to wonder whether a bird really fits in with your lifestyle. For example, about 8 o'clock we put the birds to bed, we go into the bedroom, and then we go and play video games in there or watch TV. So we have another room to go into separate from the birds so that they can have their time away from us and get good quality sleep. So that's just something you have to consider as well. The next topic is having bars at the bottom of the cage. David actually made a brilliant video on this, and I'm going to be talking more about it in the coming weeks, so stay tuned. I feel that having bars on the bottom of the cage really eliminates an actual perfect opportunity for foraging for your bird. All of our birds like to go to the base of the cage because we don't have bars. We have a substrate down there called Easy Chick, or you can also get Easy Bed, and they can forage down there because, for example, cockatiels are natural ground forage feeders, and Pickles just absolutely loves it. Scampy and Olive love it too. And it gives them the opportunity to forage. There are some arguments that, oh, you know, it's dirty, don't do that. I spot clean their cages twice a day. It takes me 2 minutes for 4 cages. It's really not difficult, so I wouldn't take that as a reason not to do it. They don't, you know, frolic in their poo or old vegetables. I clean that out twice a day. It really doesn't take very long. And also bars can be quite harsh on your bird's feet. If they do like to go down there anyway and they're kind of frolicking there, they can potentially hurt their feet. I know when the boys go and play on top of their cage and they have bars obviously on the top of their cage, sometimes their feet fall through and it's quite uncomfortable for them. So bear in mind that there's lots of different opinions on whether you should have bars or substrate, and I'll leave David's video link down below so you can go and check that out for yourself. Next topic really does make me cringe, and I've seen it a lot even with some very popular video creators who have parrots, and that is not restraining your bird when you're taking it out in a car. This is so dangerous, I can't stress it enough. If you're taking your bird in a car, put it in a travel carrier. Don't have it on a harness, don't have it on a window perch or on your shoulder, anything like that. All it takes is one accident, one hard break, and your bird is going smack into the windscreen or into you, or flapping around, and then you can't concentrate on your driving. There's no need for it when there are adequately sized travel carriers available. I've seen so many videos, pictures of it, and you know, everyone says, oh, it's fine, you know, my bird just sits there, he's really good, never had a problem before. But all it takes is one mistake, one accident. Same with a lot of these kind of controversies, especially with like having birds around other pets. Just takes one accident, and why would you put your bird in that risk, or yourself in that risk, for example? So if you're taking your bird in a car for any reason, please put them in a travel carrier, and of course secure that travel carrier so it's not going all over the place. Use a seatbelt and just keep them and you nice and safe. The next one again sparks a lot of opinions, doesn't it, Fish Fish? which is how long should your bird be out of the cage for each day? I don't think there is a right answer for this question, but I do think there are a few wrong ones. For example, only having a bird out for, 20 minutes, half an hour a day, or having your bird out all day from the moment it gets up to the moment it goes to bed. That can cause problems as well. And again, it's something we've seen in our business. Birds have free roam of the house all day, and they end up getting into things they're not supposed to destroy. They're causing a nuisance, especially when people are working from home. It's a really tricky one that people have a lot of trouble kind of deciding on, and obviously you want your birds to have plenty of exercise and time with you, but it has to be realistic, and also you want to train your bird to be able to entertain themselves independently as well. Now, I'm sure many of us in the parrot world know about Marlene McCohen's hashtag engaged not caged, and a lot of people focus on the not caged part, which she actually did an interview with Bird Tricks, which I saw the other day, which is quite cool, so I'll leave a link for it below. It's not just about not caging a bird, it's about giving them something to do other than crawling up my face pickles. It's about giving them things to do. If you've got really engaging play stands that they can have fun on, if you've got lots of foraging activities for them to do outside of the cage, that's great. But if you want them to come out and just sit there and be quiet, I don't think you quite know about behaviour with parrots, because they won't do it. They are noisy, as you've probably told. Fish are insisting on wicking for the entire video, so I do apologise, but that is life with parrots, and I can't, tell them to be quiet because I'm filming. But it's about getting the right balance of, if they're going to be out, it's more about quality over quantity. If they're going to be out and about, have a structured activity, have some training, have some flight training, have a foraging box that they can play in, have floor toys like we do. Have something structured that they can do, that they're allowed to do when they're out and about. And equally, when they go home, the cage should be just as fun a place to be, with loads of opportunities for foraging, play, and it should be big enough for them, of course, to have exercise within their cage too. So I can't give you a right answer of how long your bird should be out, but these are just my thoughts on the topic. The next topic is feeding your birds human food. I do have strong opinions on this one. I don't really share food with my birds, and some people are like, how can you not share food with your birds? It's a great way of bonding. I think it promotes bad behaviour, undesirable behaviours like trying to steal from your plate, and my birds just have a separate diet to what I eat. Now, could you share a plate full of vegetables with your birds? Of course you could, as long as everything on the plate is safe for birds. Should you be sharing bread, toasties, pasta, noodles, rice, any kind of processed human food with your birds? No, you should not be, in my opinion. I think that it promotes kind of bad behaviour, begging behaviour, and they don't need it. Like, people anthropomorphise, like, oh, just give him a little bit, he just wants a little taste. He doesn't need that little taste. If you want to eat rubbish like I do, then that's my choice, and that's okay, but please don't offer that to your bird. They don't need it, and they will want it once they've had a taste of it. So just keep that separate. If you want to share food, make sure it's parrot safe food that you could share together, like a salad made up of some vegetables. Please don't feed them processed human food. Doesn't matter if it's a taste. I've seen all kinds of things like parrots eating steak, having sips of tea, which is really bad for the caffeine. I've kind of seen it all, and it's quite concerning. Keep your diet separate. If you want to share something, make sure it's something that you're both okay to consume and it's healthy for both of you. Next topic is how you pet your birds, and some people pet their birds all over their bodies, over their backs and wings. I don't agree with that. Again, if you've seen my hormone video, thank you for okay, they're just gonna do their own thing. If you've seen my hormone video, you will know that you should only be petting your bird on the head and the neck, where there's exceptions like conures who like to cuddle sometimes, that can still sometimes promote hormonal behaviour. You want to avoid that at all costs. David actually this morning filmed a video about how to pet your birds properly, so I think it's probably going to be up by now. I'll leave a link down in the description and the card, of course, so you can go and check that video out, because he goes into this in a whole lot of detail. But again, you see it online, lots of people stroking their birds all over their backs, and it's not good for your birds. You are not your birds, partner, mate, whatever, so don't give them ideas that they are, because it's very confusing for them. It promotes hormonal behaviour. The oils in your hands will ruin their feathers. Just pet them on the head and the neck, and that can be a really rewarding experience for you and your bird, as long as it is done correctly. The last topic I want to touch upon is height dominance, and the idea of an alpha bird. If he goes on your shoulder and your head, it's because he's trying to dominate you, and you have to be the flock leader, and you have to show him who's boss. you can't tell already, that's a load of baloney. It's not true. Birds don't have that kind of social dynamic where one's the alpha and everyone's submissive. And a bird going on your shoulder and head is either because they've been trained poor behaviours, you're okay with it going up there, or they prefer being higher up because it's safer for them. I know Flock Talk has done a couple of videos on the subject. I will do a more in-depth video on the subject, but I see a lot of old school trainers talking about, you know, alpha and dominance, and oh, it's gross. Please don't. Use positive reinforcement. See your bird as a friend, an equal, and then you can have a really cohesive relationship with them. But if you start getting to this idea of kind of dominance and who's the boss and who's the leader and alphas and just don't, because you're going to have a really poor relationship with your bird and it's not the right way to go about things. So I hope you found this video interesting, learning about some of the controversial topics in the parrot industry. If there are some I've missed, please feel free to leave them below. And of course, let me know your thoughts on some of these topics. If you disagree with me, if you do agree with me, again, all I ask is that you're respectful to everybody in the comments, because we all have different opinions and backgrounds, and we're all here to learn. We're all always learning, and there's always something different to know about parrots. Even me, with my 12 years of experience working with birds, I'm still learning, and I absolutely love that. And that's one of the reasons why I love parrots, because there's always something new to discover. So, as I said, please be respectful, but I would love to hear your opinions on the topics. But for me and the extremely noisy birds, because that's a reality of being with birds, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Take care and see you later.